School board recognition. As you can see,
Yes.
school board recognition from we've got guest performers apparently. And so I have a proclamation to read. Fern Ridge School District celebrates School Board Recognition Month. Fern Ridge will join the other 196 school districts throughout Oregon to celebrate January as School Board Recognition Month. Our school board members spend countless hours of unpaid time working to provide the best possible education for our students. They also serve as the corporate board of directors for one of our community's largest employers. Celebrating School Board Recognition Month is one way to say thanks for all that they do. School board members represent their fellow citizens' views and priorities in the complex enterprise of maintaining and running the community's public schools. Even though we're making a special effort during January to show appreciation for our school board members, we recognize their contributions reflect a year-round effort on their part. They're dedicated individuals who are committed to improving student achievement and to fighting for the best for all students. Thank you, Mark, Jackie, Andrea, Barbara, and Lori.
Thank you to all the schools and our stuff and got cards, and we really appreciate it. Nice. All right, moving on, we will go with the citizenship awards, and now we are ready.
And can you hear us, Chloe?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You're up.
Okay. Alrighty, so we nominated a fourth grader from Elmira Elementary School, Bailey Farrar, for our Citizenship Award. And I just wrote a few words about Bailey. I said Bailey is such a bright, kind, and responsible student. She has incredible stamina with her studies and works tirelessly on anything given to her, whether it's her benchmark test, a job in the classroom, or helping out a fellow student. She exemplifies excellence each and every day. Congratulations, Bailey. I wish I could be there. Congratulations.
She is here, Bailey. Bailey, you get a fancy certificate, and then Miss Smith would like to take your picture with it.
Try to take a picture of me around. Well, no, I like
Great job. And we also like to lead us in the pledge of allegiance you would for our meeting, please. Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start.
Can you do it?
Ready, go ahead and start. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Yeah, you don't have to stay. Please take some cookies.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I don't think we had any public comment, right? Then next is our high school presentation.
Good one. You'll start us. I'll start. Well, I'll introduce you and then we'll get started. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time tonight. Appreciate all that you do. This was kind of a normal thing that we would usually do with our presentation for the high school, was bring some of our talented students. We haven't been able to do that for a few years, but happy that we can do that again. So kind of Karis Price kicking us off with our presentation. She's one of our many talented kids. Karis is one of these kids that, well, someday you're going to hear Karis on the radio, and hopefully someday she'll come back and build like a brand new music room for us. He's going to be a bajillionaire with her music. So super talented. So I'm going to hand it off to Karis, and she's going to kick us off. Want to just come to the middle?
You're on the camera kind of right now, but yeah, you want to come to the middle.
you taking requests or?
I think
And yeah, back to everybody online. I don't know if we have any folks online.
yeah.
Have you?
Okay, so this is a song I wrote called Saving Peter Pan. Where did you go?
I wanna know how you make it look so easy that you get your thumb over the top of these fingers.
Well, it's a very small guitar.
Yeah, well, that,
Yeah.
make it look easy.
That's
Thank you.
good job. Obviously, that's just, again, we have lots of talented kids at the high school. Karis is probably one of our best examples of it. So that's one of the reasons I invited here to be a part of our board meeting tonight. I'm not gonna make her stay though. You don't have to go to that stage.
I would love to show them on Zoom.
Let's take a while.
Keep taking cookies.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Good job, Karis.
Thank you for everything, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right. What if that noise still makes you push the button down there on the bottom?
Well, it seems to play a message.
So,
That was a highlight.
so it's the best part of the presentation, really, is.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah, that would be better. Thanks again for letting me present tonight. I always, I'm kind of happy that I get to kick it off. I think 3 years ago, I had to kick it off on the night of the national championship game, so that would be, but I think the worst part about it is I kicked it off on the night of the national championship game, and then like a month and a half later, we closed for COVID and no one else had to do one of these. And that's what's awesome about it as well. It was like the only presenter. So let's start off. I'll just kind of go over our goals for the school year, our building goals for the year. First up is a goal around, is it not moving? There we go. So it's an attendance goal, and you know, we've struggled a little bit attendance wise over the last year, and I think what we found is that it's not an in-person struggle for with attendance. It's really more of what our options numbers look like. We need to take attendance for those students, and surprise, surprise, the online kids are not as consistent with coming to school as the kids who come in person. So we're working on that. We, you know, Mr. Cooper does a great job with those students and tries to hold them accountable. And there's still more work to be done there. I also think that options program is going to transform a little bit over the next couple of years as we kind of fully move out of having any students that experienced a couple of years of COVID at the high school level. You know, maintain ninth grade on track with at least 82%. If you look at the statistics, the numbers are very clear. Students that are on track after their ninth grade year, there's about a 91% chance that they're going to graduate from high school on time. And so really that is probably one of the most you know, leading indicators of whether a student is going to graduate is that ninth grade on track. On track means that they've achieved 6 credits by the end of their ninth grade year. Our numbers have been lower than we'd like them to be the last couple of years, but I also will say that they track with what the state has seen with students that have been affected by COVID. I think last year numbers were a little lower than we would have liked them to be, but they were an improvement over the year before. As you can see in 1920, that first year, the year that we closed for COVID, we did a great job. Full COVID year was the challenge at 71%. You can see that we jumped back up again last year. And we see that's the trend we're seeing right now. One of the things that we've been doing with our ninth graders is keeping track of yes. I mean, really, that's the data that we're looking at. Are you passing or you're not passing? And one of the things we've done in every progress report is we've seen a very steady decrease in the number of ninth graders failing classes as we looked at each progress report at weeks 4.5, 9, and 13.5, and we would assume we'll see that trend continue at the semester, and we'll have several kids that look like they're in a good spot. And then the last one is just, you know, we have a lot of kids, particularly in grades 11 and 12, that made a decision 2 years ago to not engage, to not get online and attend classes when they have the opportunity to, or to not even return when we return to hybrid learning. And so we have a lot of 11th and 12th graders who, if you look at most years, did a good job, passed all their classes or nearly all their classes, but they have a big giant hole in their transcript because they earned 1, to 0 in some cases credits during the year that we were in CDL or in hybrid. And so there's a lot of work to be done to get those kids back to a place where they could potentially be on track to graduate. And so, we'd like to try to get at least 20% of those kids on track or graduating by the end of the school year. Again, it's a lot of it. It's what are we doing in terms of credit recovery for those students? Did we push them to summer school? Are they doing some online credit recovery right now from a senior? Have we steered them towards some work credit if they have a job? So just lots of different strategies that we're trying to employ to move those kids back to a place where we're going to get them across the finish line. And I think we did a good job with that last year. We had probably, I would say 8 to 12 kids that were not on track, and we got about half of those kids across the finish line with a diploma last year. And a couple, at least 3 that I know of that earned those diplomas. They didn't get to walk at graduation, but they still earned those diplomas over the summer, which is still a huge accomplishment for those kids. So definitely, trending in the right direction for those students. And we're working to do the same thing for our kids this year. Picture of the high school. Everybody's kind of seen that new lobby. It's been there for quite a long time, but there's a picture. I actually have quite a few other photos that I wanted to share with you. One thing that we have that's really been great the last few years is, click it one more time because there's one more picture that slides in there. So our journalism class has really jumped back into being active and a part of what we're doing at school. Michelle Nelson is the teacher that is supervising that group, and with her and Rob Lee, who's doing our yearbook class, they've done a really good job of getting into classrooms and getting out onto the athletic fields and into the gym, and just taking pictures of some of the things that our kids have been doing. It's been really fun to continue to see things just kind of continuously move back towards being what I would consider to be more normal. Our student sections have been really, really good this year at some of our sporting events. There's a packed gym right now for the boys game with a bunch of students dressed as frat boys. At least that's what they think frat boys look like. But the kids are doing a great job getting back into the gym, supporting and encouraging our team. So excited about that. These are some things that have been happening on campus. Halloween there, Falcon there, some kids in the gym. This is volleyball. Some action shots for some sports. There's another slide of some pictures here for you as well. Homecoming night with the lighting of the E. It was great to be able to do that again. Some of our musicians, I'm sure Karis is in that picture there. We got a couple of assemblies, which has been great as well. That tug of war there is from our homecoming assembly. Unfortunately, I think that's a picture of the seniors beating the staff in the homecoming tug of war. I thought we would win, we did not. So yeah, lots of great stuff going on at the high school right now. New folks first, some new staff. We have a couple of new instructional assistants. We actually just added a new instructional assistant today that I didn't get a chance to add him in there. Ethan Davis just came over from the middle school today. I will tell you that he immediately said that the day at the high school was awesome compared to wrangling 60 middle school kids in PE classes. So just wanted to throw that out there. Madison Hahn is our only new teacher. We were really lucky to be able to maintain our teaching staff this year. Madison is teaching math. Joel Smith is our new assistant principal / athletic director. He's doing a great job. And then Candace Stansel, who was an IA, has been an IA in the district, moved into our state testing coordinator position. So we're excited to have those folks. We've spent quite a bit of time in some PLC training. We have staff that has been doing PLC training. There's one from kind of each of the main departments, and myself are in our second year of this kind of rural schools network training that we've been doing. And we've actually now transitioned to bringing some of the things we've learned to our larger teaching staff. Billy Perrier has actually been helpful with that as well. from Elmira Elementary. As you probably know, our elementary schools have been doing PLC work, professional learning community work for quite a long time. And so Billy's been great in bringing some of those ideas to our staff. Our focus this year has been on some school-wide writing agreements that we are kind of resurrecting some things that had been there previously. And so we're just kind of beginning that work, and that training has gone really, really well for our staff this year. Sources of strength, as I'm sure you know, we had a tough year last year. Had a couple of students that we lost to suicide, and then we actually lost another student that was a former student over the summer. And so sources of strength is what I would describe as kind of an upstream suicide prevention program. It's designed to look at, the analogy that they've given us, that they use is, we know that people are jumping in the water, and there's people downriver that are trying to rescue those people. Sources of strength is all about getting upstream and looking at trying to stop those people from jumping in the water in the first place. And so it's about looking at areas where students have strength, whether it be with family, community, school, athletics, faith, all sorts of different things that they take a look at, and trying to help students find where they have strengths, and then find where they have people that can help them, from whether it be peers at school to trusted adults in the building. And the general idea is that we train students to be peer leaders in this Sources of Strength program, and then we roll out campaigns to our students where we ask them to take a look at the areas where they're strong, and that's kind of we're right in that beginning phase right now. We have a group of students trained. We've been meeting for the better part of about 2 months now, and we're just now beginning to get to a place where we're going to roll out our first campaign with the students probably in April. So we're excited about that. Lane County Public Health has been instrumental in helping with that, as has been Lane EFD. And so we're just continuously moving forward with that program. We're looking forward to our first campaign in April. This kind of district-wide parent square has been helpful for us. It's been really great to have another communication tool for our community. Trying to not overwhelm them with too much communication, but making sure that we have that we're getting information out to our families it's been really nice to be able to do that in a way that's kind of one-stop shop, instead of having to figure out 3 different ways of communicating with our folks. And then we're excited about this. So as part of some ESSER money, the high school is getting a new PA/bell/lockdown system. We've had all sorts of trouble over the last few years with our PA system. There'll be sometimes where we'll just kind of, the day will start, and at 8:20 the bell will ring to kind of tell kids to go to class, that if they don't head that way they'll be tardy, and we won't get another bell again for the rest of the day. And Paul and his guys work really hard to try to keep that system maintained, but it's old. It's been in place for a long time, and it's got all sorts of little quirks. It doesn't work right all the time. It constantly loses time. That's the other thing that's funny. So those guys will be great. They'll set the bells to the correct time. And I can tell you, like clockwork, if I look at when the bell rings tomorrow at 8:20, it will be 4 seconds later than it was today. And it just does that over time. And, eventually we would get to a place where, the bells might be 2 minutes late if we didn't have those guys come in and make those corrections for us. So we're excited about that. It includes digital clocks in the classrooms for everybody. It also includes really a kind of a very cool new kind of lockdown system where, right now when we have a lockdown, we kind of have to do things, either they call in or we do things the old fashioned way. If it's just a drill, Joel and I have gotten, wiggle door handles to make sure that things are secured. This system actually, when we have a lockdown, a map will come up on the computer, and each teacher has just a single button that they push to indicate to us that their classroom is secure, and we'll be able to see that on the map. The other thing that's pretty cool about it is if we do have a problem, if we have something legitimately going on, that lockdown system has a way for us. Let's say there's a room that doesn't check in, we'll be able to actually push a button and listen into that classroom and hear if something bad is happening. We're pretty excited to get it. It's supposed to be, the installation is supposed to be complete over spring break. They've been working on it for the better part of the last 2 or 3 months, doing kind of some of the background work, putting in some of the electrical that needs to be done, with the main push to get that system in is going to happen over spring break, and hopefully by the, in April we'll have it up and running. So those are some things that are new, some things that we're looking forward to. One is just have those PLC teams fully established. It's hard, it's challenging at a high school of our size. We don't have very many teachers that teach the same class. And so you think about what PLC work is all about, which is really looking at student data, looking at their, what kind of results are we getting for kids, looking at how they're achieving in specific classes, and then using that information to inform their teaching. It's hard to do that when everybody's teaching different classes. And so we've been trying to really drill down to what are some areas that are all common for everybody. And that's where the writing piece has come in, is, we've kind of found across the board, there's writing just about everywhere we go, across subjects. And so this is a way for us to hopefully impact that for our kids and help make them stronger writers, but also give us some things that we can actually look at together as a staff and try to use that information to inform instruction. The other thing that I've been participating in is Portico, it's kind of my PLC. I meet with 4 other principals of schools similar in size to Elmira once a month, and we discuss lots of different stuff, from just general day-to-day things. How are things going? One of the things that I've really enjoyed about Portico is just the website that they have has all sorts of great ideas, lots of different strategies for improving my work and how I'm working with our teachers. But one of the things that they have is this Future Ready survey, which is really asking kids, what are the things that we're doing right now at the high school level that are preparing you to leave this place? And so we're right now just in the very beginning phases of this process, where we're going to do that Future Ready survey with just our leadership team at the high school, and then roll it out to the rest of the staff so they get a chance to experience it. And then in the spring, we'll roll that out to students, and we'll then start reviewing that data to see what kinds of changes we might potentially need to make. And then we know, we don't know what they are, but we know there's some new graduation requirements coming. They will not be in place for the class of 2024. So this year's juniors are going to graduate under the old graduation requirements, but we're very hopeful that those graduation requirements are going to come our way next year, so that we know what they are and we can be prepared for them. For the longest time, there have been essential skills and things that our students needed to accomplish in order to graduate. Those were suspended because of COVID, and we haven't really gotten any real guidance on what those new graduation requirements are going to look like. And so we don't want to be caught in a position where we have all of a sudden have kids who, they'll be juniors, our sophomores, when these new graduation requirements come out, those kids that are going to be held to those requirements will be juniors. And we don't want to be caught in a position where there's anything unexpected for those kids that may all of a sudden create issues for them to be able to graduate. So we know they're coming. We know there's going to be some work to do around them so that we're ready and prepared for whatever those requirements are, and so that we can serve our students as best we can. I kind of shared this data a little bit earlier, but kind of comparisons to the state of Oregon. Our graduation rate has consistently been right around that 90 to 92%. We're proud of that number. It consistently has outpaced the state. Our 9th grade on track again was improved, but we actually lagged behind the state a little bit this year. We were actually a little bit ahead of the state in 2021. So we know we have work to do there. We know that again, that's a huge indicator for kids for graduation, and so we have work to get done there to get that number where we want it to be. And then a second piece of data is just, we got test scores. Again, those numbers are not where we'd like them to be. And we're doing some interim assessments to try to help prepare kids better for these tests. Normally, that English score has usually been around 85% of our kids passing the state assessment in English. The math scores have usually been in the mid 40s. And part of the challenge is one, we had several kids opt out last year because they didn't, they were in options. A lot of kids in the options program didn't take the state assessment last year. The other thing is that with essential skills on hold, it used to be a graduation requirement to pass this test, and that isn't the case right now. And so for an awful lot of kids, it's hard to help them see the value in putting their best effort in on this test. And so we're going to work on some things to try to incentivize them a little bit to see if we can get them to just try a little bit harder. I will say some of our best kids last year didn't take the state assessment because, again, they looked at it and said, you know what, that's 2.5 hours that I don't really need to engage in. And so we're hoping that we get much better participation and that those test scores jump up again this year. And here's stuff that's coming. Semester ends on Thursday. Final exams are Wednesday, Thursday this week. We're right in the middle of winter sports. We're actually playing basketball in the gym right now. Spring sports will get rolling right at the end of February. Spring Drama Club, if you didn't get a chance to go to the winter showcase right when we came back from winter break, I would encourage you to, if you can get over there to see our kids perform. Again, a couple of teachers that kind of resurrected that drama club. They've just been awesome. They have a full play that they're going to perform in April. Music will also perform. They'll probably perform in May. Again, Karis is a part of that. We have lots and lots of talented musicians. They're super fun to watch. Prom is May 6th at the Ford Alumni Center at the U of O. Homegoing week is something that we started a few years ago. It's just kind of a celebration of the end of the school year, kind of some spirit days and some fun stuff that we do as a part of that week. We also do ninth grade fly up is also during that week on that Tuesday evening. So we'll get those ninth graders on campus, although they should have been on campus prior to that. We've done these ninth grade shadow days. We've done them twice now. We had to take a hiatus, but we'll get back to it again this spring. We get those ninth graders on campus. They spend the morning with our future ninth grader. They spend it with another ninth grader, meet some teachers, get into the classrooms. It's a good way for them to experience high school for the first time. And then Words Night is June 6th. Graduation is Friday, June 9th. And last day of school is Friday, June 16th. If you look at those dates, you think, oh, that's such a long time. And it isn't. The semester will be over. Obviously our first semester is about to wrap up. Second semester always just inevitably goes by incredibly fast. And it's January 23rd today, and I'm just going to blink and it's going to be May 16th, I guarantee it. So that is all I have for you tonight. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for your service to our district. If you have any questions, I am here to answer them.
Is Ultimate Falcon a thing? Has that gone away?
No, it is. I should forgot to put that up there. No, it is returning. We are taking applications for it right now. So that is another TBD as far as the date is concerned. But yes, Ultimate Falcon is going to return this spring.
I have a question on the ninth graders that aren't on track.
Mhm.
So what's kind of the plan to get them on track? Because ultimately that's going to impact the graduation rate if they don't get on track, if that stays low. And my second part of my question is, do you get a heads up from the middle school that these kids coming into ninth grade, these eighth graders have not been on track? And
So let me answer that question first.
Okay.
So yes, and actually Olivia's done a really great job this year of kind of giving us a heads up that, hey, there are about 18 kids coming your way that are still in their building that need help now. And And so we actually are already we're gonna kind of dive down into the middle school with our counselors, Mr. Goldinger, who's our high school success coordinator, and try to get out in front of that a little bit and kind of build some relationships with those kids before they even get to our building. The other thing that we're going to take a look at, we're going to try to determine if this is allowed, is potentially maybe even have those kids take one of our summer school classes, if possible. We don't know whether that's possible or not yet, because we know it's supposed to be for credit recovery. But we're going to investigate it at least, because if we get those kids a half a credit before they even get there, that would make a big difference for some of those kids. The reality of it is what we've tried to do is, so, let's just take I can't even take I want to give you a name, but I'll take some specific kids right now who are struggling. One of the things that we've looked at is, and again, John does a really good job with this. Counselors do a really good job with this, and then teachers do a good job with this. We have a 9th grade success committee that meets once a month, and we just look at those kids who are struggling the most. And one of the things that we've started doing is, let's say we have that kid that is bombing 3 out of 7. I've got 3 classes that I'm not going to pass these 3 classes. We get together with teachers and they have a conversation about, hey, you know what, let's take this student, they're not going to pass the math class, but they have a 58% in history right now. Let's put them in that history class when they're supposed to be in math and get them some extra help with that teacher to ensure that they get credit in that history class. So we've got that kind of stuff going on all over the place right now with the 9th graders that we know are in jeopardy of potentially failing multiple classes. And so that's the first step, is getting those kids across the finish line in as many classes as we possibly can. The other thing that we started doing my second year was offering students what we call extended semester, which allows them a couple additional weeks if they're close to potentially turn in some work, get a handful of things done, to potentially get themselves to a position where they can earn some credit. Because what we found with those 9th graders that have never experienced any success previous to high school is that if we can show them that they're capable of having some success, then that tends to, that tends to build. And while that student that has has less than 6 credits at the end of their 9th grade year is considered off track, we also, when we start meeting with those kids, and we'll start having those conversations with those students right at the beginning of semester 2, we try to point out to them that you're not out of time. It's different for the senior who, if you're a second semester senior, you got 17 credits, there's only opportunity to earn 3.5. It's going to be hard for you. If I'm a second semester 9th grader, or I'm a first semester sophomore, I still have 21 more credit opportunities. So even if I had a terrible 9th grade year, we try to just instill some hope in them that the opportunity is still there for them to pass. But most of the work is actually, a ton of that work is happening, with this current group of 9th graders right now. It's just a mad dash to figure out, okay, that kid's at 53% in your class right now. What do we need to do between now and the end of the week, or now and 2 weeks from now, to get that kid across the finish line? What are you willing to do as the teacher? What are we willing to do with some help from home? What are we willing to do? What is the kid willing to do as well? Obviously, because at the end of the day, they're the one that has to follow through and get the work done. But it really is about, when we have those 9th grade meetings, we're just specifically, we just take that list of kids, and every single kid that we know is in jeopardy somewhere in some class, trying to figure out, is this still doable? And if it is, what do we need to do to get that done? If we know it's hopeless, then we might just have to set that class to the side. Let's focus on this other class that maybe if we double up on it, they have a better opportunity to pass it. So it's really just about, it's the math of how many credits can we help a student earn, and pushing mom and dad, pushing teachers to get those kids across the finish line so that they end up with that passing grade.
Was it hard to get kids back in school after COVID? I mean, are high schools our size all facing the same dilemma like kids?
I think so. You know, one thing that I will say this year that has been so much nicer was, you know, last year, the socialization piece was so hard of just, you know, getting kids back to being in front of teachers and around each other. And even just some of this, you know, I mean, for lack of a better term, one of the things that was frustrating about last year was just some of the, like, I don't almost call it deviant behavior, stuff that I've never seen before, never seen kids do. But a year of just watching TikTok videos, I think it created, you know, certain circumstances that made it challenging, honestly. And so, you know, that's been the biggest difference this year. When I think about what kind of behaviors I've seen from students, they're just normal high school behaviors. They're typical, you know, I'm a 9th grade boy and I don't always make the best choices. We were friends, but we're not friends now because you took my boyfriend. I mean, those kinds of things. And so I'm seeing, you know, that's the stuff we're seeing this year. Last year, we were seeing stuff that was just stuff that no one had ever, I don't think anybody ever really experienced before. And so I think that's the good part, is that we're back to a place where we're kind of dealing with what I would consider to be more normal high school stuff. It's still heightened by social media and, you know, all the other stuff that we fight against, but most of the behaviors are things you just look at and you go, you know, okay, that kid's going to grow out of that behavior in a year or two. That 9th grade boy is eventually going to be a junior boy or a senior boy, and they'll stop doing that. Versus last year where you look at it, you're like, I don't know, I might actually need Jackie Turtle to come and get that kid away and hand out. So,
That's the old.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Still the flowers.
Yeah.
I should have flowers.
Any other questions?
Thanks, everybody. Yeah.
How big is the graduating class this year? Did you say that in there? 88.
Yeah.
All right, there's no other questions. We'll move on to approval of our previous board minutes for December. Anyone have any questions? Board action.
I move that we approve December 19th, 2022 board meeting as written.
Second.
A motion and second to approve the minutes as written. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And enrollment reports. One.
Okay, this is enrollment as of January 1st. We are down 13 students as of now from what we budgeted. Elementary is up 16, and the middle school is down 3, and the high school is down 26. So it's mostly secondary where we're down. Out of district students, we are up 7 from budgeted, and then total overall, including WLTLC, we are up by 6 from our projected numbers. I need to change their WLC now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that changed on there. Just noticed that. Yeah, that's it. Do you guys have any questions on any of the numbers?
All right. So we'll move on to the event report.
This is our general fund revenue and expenses as of December 31st. We've received 71% of our revenue, and we have spent 36% of our budgeted expenditures. Last year, we had received 70% of our revenue and spent 33%. So we're pretty close in both areas. We did go ahead and do our interfund transfers, which is that $1,480,000 number at the bottom. That's the transfers that go out of general fund into the textbooks fund, the athletic fund, the district maintenance, and the early retirement reserve as well. Other than that, there's nothing really new on it.
Any questions? You need a motion to approve the financial report.
I make a motion that we approve the financial report as presented by Kwan.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. 3-0. We have a resolution for adopting, establishing.
Yeah.
Fund balance and
So-
the audit report.
Yeah, and I think Gary sent you all the draft of the 21-22 audited report. We were hoping to have received the final by this board meeting and have you accept this resolution, but we did not, unfortunately. So really, for SIA requirements, though, we do need on minutes that the draft budget or draft audit was presented to you, that you've seen it. I doubt anything much will change on it. There's only one number they're trying to figure out how to fix, which is in their system hidden somewhere. It's $1. But once we do receive the final, we'll present that again to you with this resolution for passing of it.
So we're gonna do this in February.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, moving on to reports. Director of K-12.
Perfect. That leads into, so right now I'm working on the Q2 SIA report, and it's your budget and then some journaling questions and information and activities and updates, but you have to attach the board minutes that have them on it. So thank you for having that be on the agenda. That's due next week, so I'll just be finishing it up this week. And it's wonky because we're finishing up all the different things this year, but we're still moving into the integrated plan, which combines the high school success, CTE, SIA, a couple other things. So I'll be working on that and getting you guys a draft. I'll kind of do it probably next month or the month after, get you some sort of a draft, just so you have an idea of the budget and what activities we're doing with all of that. One of the things that we're doing here in the next few weeks is a community engagement on February 9th. And we'll also be putting out an input survey here in the next week or two. And so we'll talk about the integrated plan there with staff and students and community members. See here, what else I want to share? Curriculum, we're reviewing math materials. We've gotten about 3 different samples. And then here in the next few weeks, Lane ESD will be hosting a caravan, so teachers can go look at all the math stuff. And then the last 2 things, just facilities and maintenance wise, the big water testing, we talked about the healthy and safe schools plan, where every faucet in the district has to be tested and labeled and We've got Elmira Elementary is done, and we only had 3 faucets that didn't pass, and we've kind of remedied that for now. And we're getting through Vanita right now. So the guy at ODE is super impressed and appreciative of the work that's been happening. And then we're still waiting for our asbestos report, and hopefully that'll be here in the next few weeks too. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question. How does a faucet not pass?
It has too much lead.
Oh, really?
And so we had actually a kitchen sprayer, but one that we don't use. If they don't use it enough, then it just builds up in there. And when they do the sample, because the sample has to be when nobody's been in the building for 12 hours and all these different things, so. And then,
Difficult faucets are dormant.
Yeah.
The water is very hard.
Believe me, I live out here. I know.
All right. Thank you again. Superintendent's report.
Yeah, two things I want to follow up on Michelle said. She mentioned math textbooks. The reason we're doing math textbooks is because this is a math adoption year. So she has a committee she meets with, and we'll be selecting the spring, and hopefully all those materials will be in our buildings in the fall. And the second thing on the Division 22 asbestos report, remember in the fall, when we submitted our report, there's 56 items. We were in compliance with 55 of them, except for the asbestos. We've had that testing done, what we needed to do over winter break. We hope to get the report soon, and then I'll be submitting to OD that, okay, we're now in compliance with this area that we said we were out of compliance. A couple things I want to touch base on. Construction in Benita has begun. You'll see some fencing, and they're starting to stage some equipment over there. Our position is posted, has been posted for a few weeks for Mr. Thiessen's job. He's retiring at the end of the year. We expect to keep it open a few more weeks. Ms. Marshall's working on a committee of folks. If a school board member was interested in being on that, reach out to her. Just today, Kwana got me kind of bouncing them back and forth with the 23-24 calendars, or school calendar for next year. Tomorrow, Forrest is getting me a teacher name from each building. They'll be kind of the reps. We'll send them our draft to take any feedback, consider it, and then expect that the February board meeting, you'll be approving our calendar for next year. And the last thing I wanted to mention is that this Thursday is the first day of our, we begin bargaining with the Classified Association. Remember, Jackie's volunteered to be on that committee. So first meeting this Thursday, 3:30. That's it.
All right. Not on the agenda, but thanks, Jarvis, for cookies tonight, and thank you for being here. I know we got to meet you up in the conference, so thanks again for taking us out. Andrew and I get everything said.
Okay, but I'll appreciate you guys are.
Thanks for being here. All right, moving on for discussion items, we have a second reading for the student representative to the board policy. And I think it is real good. I think it came up with some good stuff, and hopefully we'll get some folks into those positions, and we'll have some students joining us next year. That'd be great.
Next school year.
Next school year, yeah. Yeah. So if there's no other questions or comments about that, then we can go ahead and motion to approve that. Student representative to the board.
I motion that we accept and approve the student representative to the board policy as written.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to accept the policy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
One thing I wanted to mention real quick, because I appreciate that header. I've kind of, and I know others have as well, we've kind of referred to these as student school board members. And that creates some confusion among, so I think that language of the policy, they're a student representative to the board. It will be helpful if we all try to use that, me, myself included.
Yeah, definitely. Great. Then we do have a couple of retirement and a new hire to approve tonight. So Mr. Thiessen's retirement, and then also the hiring of Arthur Franklin at the middle school for PE. We do need to have board action for those.
I make a motion that we approve the personnel.
I'll second.
Any other motion to second, any questions? Any other comments? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes 3-0. And then we do have the non-licensed just report for information. There's no action to be taken on that. We do have a couple resignations, one retirement, and some hiring of some folks in the district. It's good. Nice to see the cheerleaders there the other night at the game, for both games. That's great. Last week. All right. Any late items or closing comments? There's some things coming up, the upcoming dates. Wow. All right. Thank you all for being here. Hearing none, we will adjourn. Thank you.
No, I never.